I'm Josh Jacobson, offensive coordinator at Baker County High, responsible for football prep, physical prep of football players and sprinters. Took a week off last week in our discussions about general exercises, specialized prep, specialized developmental, and then transitioning to competition exercises to the Super Bowl, which was a fantastic game if you had a chance to watch it. One of the greatest games ever. Real quick though, I just want to talk about a subject. This week it popped up on Football Scoop. You might have saw it somewhere else about how Bill Belichick held his players the week before the Super Bowl to full padded practices. They were squatting at 80%, really getting after that. And of course, in a typical manner, coaches just exploded like, got after it, tough, blah, 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 lifting so heavy weights and all this. And 80% of your max, your squat max, is sub-max, right? It really doesn't constitute as a maximum weight. If you look at Mel Siff in super training, he says that basically 79% to 80% you should be able to execute for 3 sets of 10. So that just tells you how sub-max that would be in relation to people claiming that it's max weights. However, here's the other thing that people didn't talk about. Belichick could have had his players squat 12 sets of 2 at 80% with 4 minutes recovery in between each set. That would be classified as not taxing at all. Be able to handle that, no problem. Good stimulator to the CNS, strength maintenance, everything like that the week of the Super Bowl. Versus 5 by 10 at 80% with 1.5 to 2 minutes in between every set. That's taxing. The recovery on that would take a while. I'd say 48 to 72 hours, depending on what their schedule looked like before that. So there's just so many variables that people should consider before they just jump the gun and say, he's maxing them out, he's doing heavy weight, blah, 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 blah. Now, granted, we lift, I have no problem squatting our kids 85% during the season. No problem. It'll be like 4 sets of 2, 5 sets of 1. It's not going to be like 3 sets of 6, but I do believe that you should not be afraid to squat your kids in season if you are for any reason. There's nothing to be afraid of if you just know how to handle simple set and rep schemes and also rest intervals. So this is part 2. Looking at the board, you see GE is now just 2 initials, general exercises. We talked about those last week. Those, again, as a review, or 2 weeks ago, those are as a review, are just basic weight room exercises, calisthenics, med ball throws, jumps that just enhance overall, all-around development of your athlete in a non-specific manner. Non-specific being the key word. Non-specific manner overall enhances the functions, the muscle tissues, the aerobic system, everything, just general exercises just to overall enhance the athlete. Moving on to specialized prep. Specialized preparatory exercises. The closest definition is this. Specialized, this is Anatoly Bondarchuk again, his classification of means. Specialized prep are essentially exercises that do not replicate the main competition movement, okay? So if your sport is Olympic weightlifting, this is not going to be a full power clean and then jerk from the floor, okay? It doesn't represent the identical movement. If you're a quarterback and you're doing some specialized preparatory phase exercises, you're not going to sit there and throw a football, right? You're not going to get into a 3-step drop, 5-step drop, sprint out right, sprint out left, sprint out, duck and roll, things like that. You're not going to do that in specialized prep regime. Doesn't duplicate the competition exercises. However, it will activate in a non-specific manner the muscles and contractile speeds / velocities, force efforts. It will start to awaken those in an effort that it will translate then once you get the specialized developmental, it will translate into enhancing the actual main movements of the sport. If that doesn't make sense, Google Anatoly Bondarchuk specialized preparatory exercises. You'll get all the information you need to know. What I did on the board here is I broke down 3 positions, and this should not take long at all. broke down 3 positions in which a couple examples of specialized prep exercises we I have used over the last 5 years in the advancement of training in the off season. Right now we're still in general. It's February 11th. We won't start transitioning to probably specialized prep till the end of February, maybe the first week of March. Run that for about 4 weeks, and then once we start to get into April, before spring ball, we'll start to transition to specialized developmental. Now, what you need to understand is that just because you look up here, you see Michael linebacker, quarterback, offensive tackle, okay? Just because there's only like a few things underneath there, that doesn't mean that we're still not squatting, we're still not benching, we're still not trying to enhance the overall capabilities of the athlete. That's year round. A great thing that I'm going to talk about, a very profound topic of vertical integration by Charlie Francis. It's a great way to look at things. It essentially, you look at a calendar year on an annual basis, and you put in your competition schedule, whatever that is, however many competitions you have, however many times your athletes need to peak, whatever sport you're in. And then you start to wave in a fashion of different elements. So, weights, speed, aerobic capacity, abdominals, explosive jumps, explosive throws. And then it's all about how you time everything up and waving it through the months so that you elicit certain adaptations at the right time. You don't want your athletes peaking in February if your first game is September 1st. And you don't want your athletes peaking September 1st if you have a very talented team and you have a chance to make the playoffs. So it's a give and take, it's a balance. There is no set way in doing things. It's about being adaptable, understanding what training adaptation you are trying to elicit when you throw your program out there. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to get this athlete to become, to look like, to be able to do? If you can answer those questions and many, many others in relation to, your program, especially related to the concept of dynamic correspondence. There's 5 factors of dynamic correspondence, but you can Google that too and look that up. If you can do that, then you're on the right thing. Results speak. That's the biggest thing. Results speak. People may disagree. People don't agree. It is what it is. Results speak. It doesn't matter. I've talked about that before. All right, so let's talk about specialized prep exercises again. My definition didn't make sense. Just Google it. Michael linebacker, squat dive throws. All right, squat dive throws onto a high jump mat. All right, so he's gonna have a ball 6, 8, 10. You can rotate every rep. Every other rep. It doesn't matter. He's gonna squat down into a full squat, and he's gonna launch himself onto that high jump mat at a 45-degree angle, achieving triple extension in the ankle, hip, and knee. All 3 joints, okay? All 3 joints. Now, another thing for all you power clean enthusiasts that talk about triple extension in the vertical plane. All right, that's fine. Just take the ball, and if you want to do that with your Mike linebacker or football players that you think are going to be in that position when they tackle, just take the ball, squat straight down, and explode straight up and throw the ball. Same thing. The best thing about it is that they are also at the same time when they launch that ball, either horizontally, obviously there's going to be a vertical component, or straight up and straight down, is you still get the explosiveness in the upper arms, and we'll talk about that here in a second. However, again, that's not related. If you look back at specialized prep, activate the muscles that will help positively translate to specialized developmental competition exercise. Right, left bounds. All that means is you're jumping laterally, right, left, as high and as out as you can, just pushing off using your arms to activate, you're here, driving off with that first step downhill, pushing off with that foot, trying to get into the same muscular contraction force/velocity curve, trying to get similar to that. It's not going to be exact, but it's going to be similar. So again, we're just trying to prep, specialized prep, and activate those muscle regimes before we translate to developmental. Chain bench. Love chain bench. If you're going to use it for explosive means, I would suggest 50% or less. Too many times I see high percentages with chains and it's slow. There is no explosive component at all. It's just, you know, here, here, here. I mean, if you are using 50% or less, and I would start out, and here's the thing about chain bench, I wouldn't use it on anybody that can't bench over 200 to 205 pounds. If they can't bench over 200, 205 pounds, they're not strong anyway. Get their butts stronger. Don't put on chains. Don't put on bands. Don't be a gimmick guy. All right? Don't use chains unless they're already 200, 205 under. Anyway, so I would start out at like 40%. When they take that bar down, it is down as fast as they can. They explode up with it. They should almost bounce off that bench. And I don't mean bounce by lifting their butt and driving, popping their hips. But that thing needs to be as fast down as fast possible, as fast up as possible. It does no benefit whatsoever to have chains on a bench and just go down slow and then up. That thing needs to snap. They need to start thinking aggressive and explosive. There is no correspondence. There is no relation to doing. Lou Simmons, Westside Barbell, is famous, and he came out and said this a couple years ago. He finally said, after it had already been proven that, dynamic bench doesn't translate to becoming stronger. Because they're two opposites, okay? When you max out on a bench press, there is no time limit. It doesn't matter. You can take that thing down, touch, and go, and grind that thing out for 45 seconds to a minute. When you're doing explosive chain bench, I forget the exact seconds he says you should do each set under, but it's like 6 seconds, something like that, and that might even be high. Don't quote me on that. It might be like 3 seconds. I don't remember if it's like 10 sets of 3, changing grips or whatever. But anyway, chain bench 50% or less, start out at like 40% and waving it like 40% 1 week, 45%, and then 50%. Or going 30, 40, 50. 30, 35, 40. It all depends. What do you want to do? How does the bar speed look? If the bar speed looks slow, take some weight off. Don't let your ego and pride get in the way. Take some weight off. Get the adaptation you're looking for. That is the key. Get the adaptation you are looking your player to get. How does that translate? Obviously, if we're here, if I'm a linebacker and I'm stepping downhill and pushing off with my right leg, and I punch, I want that thing to be as explosive as possible when I engage and get ready to shed that offensive lineman, or however you teach. If you rip through the upfield shoulder to the lineman, if he's up underneath, depending on your schemes and however you fit, things like that. All right, moving on. Quarterback, overhead med ball throws. Did these for 4 years with a quarterback over in Live Oak that's going to Southern Miss. He's like on an incline bench. You take a med ball throw, you just drop it down, and he very easily just throws it forward, or he'll very easily just catch it and stay